Hi, it's Herbert Lee again. Today I want to talk to you about improving your vocabulary. Improving your vocabulary is fundamental. It's very basic if you want to become a truly fluent English speaker with native-like quality. Now, I'm not going to tell you you're going to learn vocabulary in 30 days or 60 days. People that promise you that are telling you a big fat lie. You don't need to listen to that. However, you do need new ways of learning because what you've been doing all these years has not helped you. Hey? Otherwise you wouldn't be watching this video now. So I'm going to be showing you, if you follow right to the end of the video, we're going to show you how you've been learning vocabulary the incorrect way. Then we're going to show you how the brain actually processes vocabulary and how you can learn vocabulary in the most efficient way. We're going to show you the ways that you can get your memory to work, your brain to work, so that you can learn vocabulary in the shortest time possible. And everybody's different. So when someone promises you can learn it in 30 days or 60 days, really, they haven't assessed your ability. So it's a bit unfair. Follow the video until the very end. You're going to get these great tips how to maximize your vocabulary learning so that you can do it in the shortest period possible. Then we're going to be introducing a new series on video called Everyday English Vocabulary Every Day. And you'll be able to get a lesson every day of the week, every day of the month. So let's get going. How to improve your vocabulary using research-based methods. Since you already have a good vocabulary in your native language, you may think your vocabulary in English is terrible. You should never compare the two. Never. When you were a baby, for over a year, you listened to your native language without speaking a word. All that time, you were learning vocabulary. Here's the most interesting part. You didn't understand what was being said. It just went in. You learned vocabulary naturally, effortlessly. You didn't even know you were learning vocabulary. Now, did you ever try to memorize lists of words in your native language? No, of course not. Yet, you have a reasonably good vocabulary in your native language. Were you ever taught how to pronounce vocabulary in your native language? Well, actually, you were. When you were a child, your parents corrected your pronunciation when you made a mistake. And you didn't complain. You didn't say, "Oh, I made a mistake," and make a big deal out of it. You listened to them, what they said, and then you corrected the mistake over a period of time. So you got pretty good pronunciation because of correction. A very simple and, again, natural way to learn. So why do we spend hours trying to learn English vocabulary? Because that's what schools are supposed to do. They're supposed to teach us English vocabulary. And then we're tested to see if we can remember the vocabulary that we've been taught. And when we pass the exam, we quickly forget the words. The size of your vocabulary in English has a huge gap compared to your native language. Sometimes my students tell me how many years they've studied English. I've studied 15 years in school. But that's not the same as studying for 15 years. It was more like an hour a week for 15 years. That's not 15 years. An hour a week is 52 hours a year. 15 years times 52 is 780 hours. That's like 98 8-hour days. And if you studied English in your native language, you can cut that in half. 49 8-hour days. And that's being generous. The key to English mastery, including vocabulary, is exposure. The second challenge is that because we understand our native language so well, we want to understand everything in English, as well as our native language. But we haven't had enough exposure. As babies, we were exposed to 2,500 to 3,000 hours of our native language before we said anything. Because we have this strong desire to understand, we use dictionaries, and usually the wrong dictionary. Usually native language to English dictionary. We want to understand the words. But that's a terrible idea if we want to improve our English vocabulary. It extends what I call the translation loop. This is when you hear something in English, translate it back into your native language, form the answer in your native language, and then translate back into English. Using a native language to English dictionary prolongs this bad habit, and you can never improve your English vocabulary or your English fluency. The third biggest mistake you may be making is what we call stop-start learning. One day you wake up and you decide it's time to improve your English vocabulary. So now that you think you're behind, you learn 10 words a day. Well, you try to learn 10 words a day for maybe 10 days. But the only thing that will happen is you will give up. Slow and steady, every day, a little bit, is much better. Mastering 1 or 2 words a day is much better. So what are the 2 important things you need to remember and practice? 1. Stop comparing your English skills to your native language skills. And 2, get rid of your native language to English dictionary. Get an English to English learner's dictionary instead. This is a very difficult habit to break, especially if you've done it for years. And I know many of you have done this for years. But if you are serious about improving your English vocabulary, you must do it. So how do you actually learn vocabulary? You've probably done this the same way for many, many years. You make up lists of words and you try to memorize them. This is boring, painful, and not effective. Memorizing lists makes learning vocabulary a know or don't know exercise. English vocabulary tests at school work the same way. If you pass the test, you think you know. If you didn't pass the test, you think you don't know. But mastering English vocabulary is not a matter of just knowing a word. It is how well you know a word and how well you can use it. There are actually 4 layers to learning a vocabulary, and I call this the vocabulary onion. And in the vocabulary onion, there are 4 layers. And the 4 layers are first exposure, knowing the definition, maybe you can use the word, and the final stage is complete confidence with the word. Here's how we actually learn and master vocabulary. The 4 stages of learning vocabulary in the vocabulary onion. 1. The first exposure. You don't know the word. You've never seen it before. The second stage. You have seen or heard the word before. You might have looked it up in a dictionary, and you know its meaning. Stage 3. You know the word and have some familiarity. You might understand it when reading, but you wouldn't use it in your daily writing or speaking. And lastly, you know the word well. You can use the word confidently in speaking or writing naturally. Let's look at this one more time. As you go deeper into your vocabulary study, you start with lots of new words. They're totally unfamiliar. You've never seen the word before, and you have no idea of its meaning. You dig deeper, and you develop some familiarity. Maybe you look it up in a dictionary. English to English dictionary, please. And so you know the definition. You've possibly seen the word in an article or book. As you become more familiar, you become more comfortable, and you might occasionally use the word in your daily speech or writing. And they become like a trusted friend. And finally, you can use the word anytime. You can use it naturally. It's like an old friend. You can use it easily, comfortably, confidently, any place, anytime. Research has shown that you need 12 exposures to a word to make an impression in your brain so that you can begin to understand the word when you're reading. Fortunately, research has also given us better ways to learn and master vocabulary. Learn words that are commonly used. Learning words that are not commonly used will get you in trouble, and it's a waste of time and brain power. To properly learn a word, you first need to know the definition in English. Then, if possible, learn collocations or word clusters using the word. Even learning the history of a word can make it easier to remember. Learn how the word is used in a sentence. And finally, try to learn the word in clusters or groups. This is easier for the brain to digest and remember. So now I've created a new series of videos. Everyday English vocabulary every day. Now you can watch a short video every day. Watch the video more than once a day, throughout the day, and get more exposure. And now here's something that's really important. Don't try to memorize the words. Learn them naturally by listening repeatedly. After a few listenings, you can start repeating the word to yourself. And finally, leave your comments and suggestions. I do listen and read the comments. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you're taking notes while you're doing this. It's very, very important because it will take quite a shift for you to change how you learn vocabulary. But if you don't change, you really won't get any better results. Remember, someone said that insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. You've got to do something different if you want a better result. And I've just given you the tips on how to do it. Now, we're happy to launch our new Everyday English Vocabulary Everyday series. Now you're going to be able to watch a video every day of the month. Let's see how I can keep up on this. That's a lot of videos, you know. I have to produce a video every day for you. But I'm happy to do it if it helps you improve. Here are some tips. Just watch the video over and over again as many times as you can. Don't need to take notes. Don't need to take a dictionary. Just listen and watch. Just listen and watch, but concentrate. Don't go on your phone and play around and chat with your friend. Focus on the screen. Watch and listen. And then do this several times each day, throughout the day. Don't do it again and again and again. Watch it in the morning, watch it at lunchtime, watch it during your tea break, watch it again after dinner. That's probably a better approach. Don't try to memorize the words. You've been trying to memorize words for years and it hasn't helped you. Just let it sink in naturally. Okay, that's how you learn your vocabulary in your native language. Enjoy the videos. I hope you enjoyed the series. Please leave your comments and suggestions. I try my best to listen to you and make better videos for you. Bye for now.